talking about frequencies. My head feels so much cleaner that I hit X on this fucking computer.
Yeah, well, mine doesn't because I'm still over here fucking with this.
Do you still feel it? No, I hit X. I X'd out all of the boxes, and now it's like, it's on. What's going on? So, yeah, we had some technical difficulties.
Is this our intro now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had some technical difficulties today. It's okay. You know, we're still in a fucking attic. They make fun of the dojo. They call it the attic. We're in the real fucking attic.
The problem really is just that your tech guy is not a tech guy. Me.
The tech guy's a mechanic.
Tech guy, yeah,
it's like,
more so.
It's one of those things they'd say, like,
a mechanic.
Would
for
you
sure.
would you have a mechanic fix your computer?
Yeah. No,
yeah, well, that's
you
what
wouldn't.
we do at the Freethinkers.
But this is the guy that's fucking. That's for real. Like somebody had said something. They were like, "Oh, so are you a tech guy or whatever?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, you just got all this equipment?" And I was like, "Yeah, I bought good equipment, so hopefully it fucking work, and I don't need to be a tech guy on it." Like,
you'd think so. Like, it's amazing how these fucking apps work. People are making albums, editing on apps, but we can't fucking have a conversation.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, we do have a lot of things going on right here on this computer. Well, I mean, just to set all this up, we had somebody call in on Zoom, so then my audio doesn't work. Get a dial tone. we're taking the audio from yours, and then also stealing the.
We're stealing Wi-Fi too?
No, I'm stealing the screen capture. I'm capturing that window, importing it into this streaming software. Like, so there is a bunch of stuff going on. There's a bunch of working parts. Mm-hmm. Then with us sitting in the room next to each other and both having to have our computers on, it wants to give us feedback.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're gonna get there. We're gonna build a better studio. We're gonna build back better.
Is it burning down? What's going on?
I don't know. That's what are you saying right now?
Well, I don't know. You said, what are we building back? It's here.
No, that's just what the fuck is. That what Joe Biden and stuff says?
I know that, but we're still here. So what are we building back from?
I thought that the government's going to give us checks. That's what I was telling you about. When I was giving you all that cute talk about new computers.
Oh, it was just waiting for our $600.
Yeah. I was going to just
we're
give
getting
you my
$600 computers.
I was going to give you but no, seriously, we're trying the best we can, guys. I'm sorry. We're trying to put out as much content as we can. We had a lot of fun. It was a little bit choppy. I don't know if Clint will edit anything.
Yes, I'm taking out the big center part where we have to switch. I don't pay for Zoom, so you got a time limit.
Well, it was still fun. We had Anthony on. It was a lot of fun. I hope you guys
see how Mike sounds down about it. He's like, we still had, at least we had fun.
Oh, that's all. That's what I tell my kids before they go out there. It doesn't matter who wins or loses. Just have fun. I don't.
And
say
then
that.
after
I don't say
you're
that at all.
so mad if they lose.
I don't say that at all. Yeah, I don't. I can't do it. I can't do it. I do say to them like, hey, at least you had fun, right?
Yeah.
But I can't tell them that's all that matters. That's you're just building a pussy.
Yeah. I mean, it's not true.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't take score in soccer.
Oh,
but
no?
I keep score.
They don't do score now?
Well, I mean, it's like, in their fairness, they're really little, you know? But I keep
When
score.
I was little, they used to spit on us if we lost. Losing team had to line up and get spit on by the parents. That's why I'm so fucking tough.
Oh my god, that's so fucking great. I love that thing.
Well, this is just the intro. We don't talk about that throughout the whole show, to tell you the truth. What did we talk about? We talked about...
no, they got to listen to find out what we talked about.
I thought we were going to give them a...
No, that was the teaser.
Oh, that was the teaser. It's just
teaser.
that we had technical difficulties. So everybody's really excited to listen to this episode that they think is just solid technical difficulties.
No, it was a great conversation. We had a lot of fun.
Okay. The technical difficulties mostly were off camera, so you guys...
Yeah, you
won't have to suffer with us.
And if you do, we'll know in the comments anyway.
Yeah, it'll be... I don't know. I'm not going to call anybody out, but it's the same people that are always mad at my audio.
Well,
all right, guys.
Enjoy this one.
Enjoy number 51. We're just over halfway to 100. What?
Did I say the
guy's name? Say his name.
No, do I do anything else? Well, so we're just gonna go into it. Episode 51. No freaks, geeks, and freethinkers. This one.
Doodling in Etruscan, addicts of drugs not yet synthesized, black marketeers of World War III, excisers of telepathic sensitivity, osteopaths of spirit, investigators of infractions denounced by bland paranoid chess players.
So we got my friend Anthony here, Anthony Karam from Bass River Buds. Anthony, what's going on, brother?
Not too much. How you guys doing today?
We're pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Turn your computer up.
How are you, Clint?
I'm very well. I need some of those Bass River Buds I see him puffing on over there.
Yeah, you do. You definitely do. Actually, today, the motor broke in the kitchen, so that kind of sucked. It was fucking way too hot in the kitchen all day. But now we're up here. Yeah, now we're up here podcasting. Everything is good. And I'm really excited to talk to Anthony because he hit me up afterwards on the Union of the Wanted. And, we go right into it. I know you said you got a lot of notes, and I want to hear about it. But so I was on the Union of the Unwanted a week or so ago, and I really thought I fucking bombed hard. I was texting Sam and Mark during the stream saying how bad of a job I did.
Which is what he says about every show,
but
FYI. But
no, but that was those people were way too smart for me. There was like guys with book. Everyone had like more and more books behind them. I was in my fucking basement with the
many
blinds,
leather-bound books.
just tons of leather-bound books. I was in my basement with the blinds fucking half open. My wife, it said my wife's iPad name on the bottom. I was all, and they're like, "Mike, you gonna say anything?" And I just went to the Christ consciousness of the first time. I think it was. I know it was the first time I took ayahuasca, which is funny because it really wasn't. It's the first time I took ayahuasca, but I was thinking about this because I really haven't thought about it in a while. It was my first ayahuasca ceremony, but when the Christ consciousness thing happened, that was we took San Pedro, and then after the San Pedro I ate peyote and then drank a peyote tea. So it was after all of those things, and it was in the morning after the ayahuasca ceremony. So I don't know which one brought it out, but when it happened, it was just changed my life. And Anthony,
yours was pretty visual. You said, right?
It was literally every sense possible. It was visual. It was So yeah, at first it was visual. It was like Sam always says. I saw, what does he call it? Braxis, the chicken snake god. When I described it to the shamans the next day, they were just all like, "Oh, you saw Quetzalcoatl." It was just a giant. It was a giant serpent. That just kept going and going and going with these wings, and it wasn't scary at all. It was beautiful. It was like you would think your regular mind thinking about it like it would be scary. It was not scary. It was like just this all feeling of love. It was like you just knew everything possible. Like it just tapped into all the knowledge. It was just sensory overload, but it was just very peaceful. It was the most calming, peaceful thing I ever felt in my life. And it was. I didn't know anything about Christ consciousness or anything, and it was just like it downloaded into my like subconscious or my being, telling me that's what it was. And then later I went kind of backtracked and researched from what I saw, the imagery, the names, Christ consciousness. I started finding out it was a real thing. But forget about me for now. I want to hear about your experience with this.
Yeah, mine was wasn't as visual, but like everything else you like said matched up like completely with it. And it was like I started with I grow mushrooms every now and then, and I've been for a while, a couple years now. So it's like they're a lot different than a plant. They grow, you know what I mean? Like they feed on oxygen. Like they're completely opposite. They're almost living. So like I don't know what I started taking like higher doses just to see what would happen, like give myself a couple weeks off, and just over like a 6-month period. And I reached to like the point where I got to like, I think it was like 14 grams, I'm gonna say.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I waited like 2 weeks in between each time, and it was good at first. And then out of nowhere, like something like I had actually like got more spiritual. I started praying again more over the last like year or so. It's like just with smaller doses. It was made me more even religious, spiritual, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But something like caused me to like pray, and then I was praying, and like I was getting down on myself, and then I caught myself like asking like, where were you, God? And then I caught my reflection, and that really kind of triggered like a bad like panicky like feeling almost,
Mm-hmm.
and it just went from there. It kind of like took off, and like I don't know, everything just started to get like real, like I heard a buzzing in my ear, and then started to melt almost, like it felt like blurry, like I felt like a melt, like my skin was cold, like everything was starting, and then I just like it felt like I could see the past, like the future, like I couldn't speak anymore either. It was
Mm-hmm.
like completely like no words, like I felt like, but it was just everything at once, like you said, like that like feeling of like just knowing, and I felt like I was like gonna have a heart attack. That's at the point where I thought I was, and like I thought it was like either like a panic attack or I was gonna. So it was kind of hard to enjoy it. Probably like looking back now as like a panic attack, or like I probably could have like maybe got more out of the experience, and like I've been scared to take the dose that high again, just because of like how like panicky I felt during it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could have like explored it a lot more, I think like there was something there, because like I literally felt like I was no longer like who I was, and I had awoken as like I like basically God like somehow like clicked on in my like like my body was looking through like my vision at that one moment, and like he's like, oh, shit, I might have like fried this kid's brain out. He might never not, because if I would have stayed in that state, I would have had to like admit myself to a hospital. Like I was just completely fried and like
so
freaking out.
That's interesting what you said. I think that's what happens in a lot of when trips get heavy, is that people think that this is going to last forever, and that's where you could really mess with yourself. And that's
exactly what it was.
It's a lot easier said than done, but I don't want to say the wrong thing and maybe give someone bad advice, but I would say almost all the times it's going to end. And that's,
with mushrooms,
with mushrooms it will end. Exactly.
It will, yeah. That's the thing, and I knew that, but like I just didn't know if like the psychological aspect of like where I would like took myself, if that was going to go away, of being that hyper conscious.
Yes.
Like, cause like I could feel everything I've done wrong to people, and like the pain was like unbearable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the guilt I was feeling, like the feelings, like I guess it was like I couldn't speak anymore, cause like you can't speak in feelings, if that makes sense. Like that's the only thing like I could process. And it was just feeling overload on every aspect.
Yeah. I mean, so my experience with, I've experienced that, what you're saying. My experience with Christ consciousness was a little different in that it was the most amazing feeling in the world. It was like, what people would tell you ecstasy would feel like. I mean, I just felt, it was like I was overcome with love, understanding, almost all the knowledge in the, it was just like, it didn't last forever. It lasted, I don't know how long, but it maybe an hour, maybe a half hour, I don't know. But I was just in awe. It was like I was in awe of this presence of this being that was admitting or downloading into me Christ consciousness for a time being, and that was it was pretty crazy. I don't but yeah, I mean, I've also never taken I might have taken 14 grams of mushrooms before. I've tried to do like 7 or 8 in the last year, and I think I'm just too old for that. I can't do it.
Over time is like one thing, but all at once is a whole different story. Like I've done it where like I've taken more in a day in like small doses, like throughout the day, and like it's chill. But like taking it all at once is like that's where it comes from more than anything. I think.
I don't know. I'm not Clint. Do you ever go that hard? I know Clint loves them. The mushrooms changed his life.
I don't really that much anymore, but yes, I have eaten. Or I like tea better, especially if I'm gonna do a lot. I'll make it into tea. But what are you saying? How much?
Have you gone like over the 1/8?
Yeah.
More into that realm, because that's when it gets real.
Real
it gets
hairy.
almost like DMT, like it really can.
I mean, I've never had that much visuals, honestly, from mushrooms, so maybe I haven't gone that high over the threshold.
I've never had visuals either. None.
Really?
If I close my eyes, yes, but not like where I'm seeing like like obviously like the rug or something will like if it has a pattern like it'll move, but like I've never like seen colors or like not been able to like just like not been able to drive, like you know what I mean, like it's never been like.
We'll just say you never were able to drive.
I agree with him. That's what I was saying. I'll have
Really?
motion in some stuff like those that thing behind you, that screen. I would probably get motion out of that. And like
that, yeah.
And shades and stuff like on your windows, they'll start like waving and stuff like that.
Maybe the doses I've taken are way too high with mushrooms.
Maybe. I still think he's a lizard person and he likes acid and doesn't like mushrooms.
Well, acid is not. I mean, for me, acid doesn't get that visual.
Exactly, because he's a lizard person.
Get crazy visual. I don't know. I've seen
which I find that makes sense because like even like smoking weed, I feel like affects everybody differently. So it's like, I mean, I can believe it like that it would affect like I think the studies aren't really out yet to see like what really people's effects are, like a wide range to expect.
Well, I mean, the good thing is that there's a lot more. There's much more research going into all of this stuff, right? And
now
right now it's great. I mean, for years that shit was. I mean, I don't know how old you are, Anthony, but when I was growing up, like if I admitted that I took acid or I admitted that, like I was literally in a psychedelic closet because people would be like, "You're a heroin addict." It was the same exact thing. You might as well say you were doing heroin or smoking crack, because they looked at you the same way, which was so crazy. And now it's kind of beautiful that people can have open conversations about psychedelics. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think we have to be a little responsible because I was one of those people that went way too far, took it way too far, and didn't really have. I didn't have an internet to go look things up and learn about and you know, half the shit at the raves was garbage. And now I understand why a lot of people my age didn't like acid, because we weren't getting acid. We were getting some kind of research chemicals or whatever. It's totally different. I could tell just by putting my mouth and within an hour, I could tell you if it was real, what's not. I could, you know. And now I understand why so many people my age from that era hate it, because that wasn't really what it is. But we didn't have the education behind this stuff, and it's really fucked up because I kind of just experimented with my brain a lot. I mean, I think I'm okay. I'm kind of okay now, but
I think you do need to take the big amounts, but I think the problem is too many people are introduced to mushrooms that way, and then it scares them off, you know, because they blasted their face off one time with it, and they're like, well, fuck, that's not medicinal in any way, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that for me, when I was young, I did way too many mushrooms fast, you know, when I was young, and I was scared of them. And everyone loved them because they were so... And it's like I had to come back to them
because you have a personality trait, Michael.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the first time I ate mushrooms with my buddy. I mean, I remember it was raining in the woods, and we both watched this full firework display that was not there, and we both shared it together and watched it, and it was like nuts. And this one,
you was there, bro.
This one dude was this hippie was in the woods. This hippie was in the woods with his guitar, playing music in the rain.
Did he come with you?
No.
He was just randomly, there was a hippie in the woods playing guitar. Were you on trails?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were on a trail, and he was, and he just started playing a guitar or whatever, and we're like, what the fuck? And at first we were like, all right, this is cool. Then it started getting really, really annoying, and then I remember I looked at my friend who was like this little jacked guy, and he turned into a werewolf and ate the guy, which obviously that did not happen at all, but
allegedly.
But it was really funny. And I was just like, I remember I came home and my girlfriend was going to come pick me up. And I remember trying to shave and look normal and just shaving the same spot in my face, like just going over it and over. And she's like, what's wrong with you? And I was trying so hard to be straight. But it was like 4 hours later. And like, if that was like acid or something else, you wouldn't have been able, if you had a trip that hard, you know? So that's the beauty of mushrooms too.
What, to cope later?
Yeah, how it just,
they can last a while.
Yeah, I mean, but they do go away. I don't know. They don't. There's just it's a natural. Mushrooms are great, man. Mushrooms are great, and I just think.
I really think we're missing the mark on treating people with PTSD and all kinds of shit with.
Well, I mean, Megan is doing it, right? Megan Cush.
Yeah.
She's treating people, veterans and soldiers are coming back with PTSD. with
I think they're
mushrooms?
gonna find it's like even bigger than that, because like more and more studies are coming out that show like the neural pathways that like
Mm-hmm.
the psilocybin creates in your brain. So it's like I find that just like reading or like listening to music and like or podcasts, like I retain information and like can remember stuff like on a level that's like so much more vivid in my mind. And it just like, they say even like after doses like those neural pathways continue to be
Yeah.
created. And like I've actually talked to people who like talk to me after like years of like dosing and like going back to them, and they're like, have you been like reading? And I'm like, what kind of like question is that? And they'd be like, well, you just like a lot more articulate, you like more like. And I just like I started taking mushrooms. I mean, like that was the only thing I could give him. And he was like, it could be that then, like, because he's aware of what the effects are of them as well. But
Well, Clint he's a testament to that from all the brain injuries, right? I won't
Yeah.
speak for you.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like a joke, but it's not.
Oh, I'm not.
I know.
No, I know.
I did freestyle motocross for 16 years. Had a bunch of concussions, and basically started looking into it with, like you said, the concussions and your brain not firing correctly. Same thing, like you said, with opening up neural pathways. What's the other one? Lion's mane is also supposed to do the same thing. So I kind of got into both of those mushrooms after some head injuries, and also even it helps with nerve generation. So when I broke my leg, there was a lot of nerve damage there, and my foot.
Really?
Yeah, from the impact on the front of the shin, and then them cutting it open. So there was a ton of nerve damage in my foot, so my foot wouldn't actually move, like the muscles wouldn't fire to pull it in the full range of motion. So I kind of started getting into mushrooms a lot to try and also help those nerves, like regenerate a little bit.
I didn't know it had that kind of effects either.
Well, I mean, I don't know that it does, but
statement about them missing the mark completely then, because like with football players and like CTE, they're definitely not using this right like, at all.
Yeah, but I bet you they're going to soon. I really do think that.
I hope so.
You know, that with that film Fantastic Fungi, that and it hit Netflix, so a lot of people are watching that, which is great. I've had so many people in my family hit me up after that. I guess they watched that movie. And it was that could articulate much better than me trying to talk about taking mushrooms at raves, I guess. Have Paul Stavens on showing real shit. But that's fucking Clint. Real quick, there's a timer.
Yeah, I'm about to make a new meeting for us to swap over to that one.
So that's cool, man. About growing mushrooms, I would love to learn that, or just watch that whole process. Like you said, they're almost like alien, right? The way they grow, like they're not like a plant at all.
They're not, and they're like, once you get the hang of it, they're actually pretty simple, because like it's completely different, like, and you're creating the conditions you want, and it takes very minimal like investment and overhead. Like you don't need electricity. Like the only lights you need are maybe just like some sort of light above them to show them up from down. And like that's about it.
Well, it's gotta be interesting to watch them grow, huh?
They grow fast, yeah.
Yeah.
You can literally watch them grow almost.
That's really fucking cool. Clint, did I tell you? Did I show you the picture that Anthony sent me of the globe?
No. Oh yeah, you did.
So Anthony, we got to talk about that, man.
Let me. I'm sending you guys the.
Okay, hold on.
New meeting, and then we'll just restart there.
Go into my email.
What's your email again, Anthony?
Oh, you gonna do it on air?
Oh yeah, true. I don't want to have to go through and.
I almost gave it to you.
Let me look at my phone. It's in my phone. So you guys talk then.
So, well, I mean, all right, hold on. We'll talk about the globe in a minute. Wait till Clint's present for that. So you were saying about supernatural experience too. Well, tell me something about those things.
Oh, well, when I was younger, I lived in like a really old house. Like growing up, it was like I think, I'm not sure if like it had like the streets went in order. It was like said Massachusetts Military Academy was the name of the street. So I think there might have been a military academy on the grounds in that area at one time. But it was a big house, and it was like 100 years old, and the early 2000s. and I seen some shit in there.
Yeah.
Like I'd be in my room and like they'd be those drapes you like pull down and like you got to pull them down fast to get them to go back up.
Yeah.
And like those things would go up out of nowhere by themselves. And I seen like just like the doors you'd see the doorknob jiggle and then it would pull open or something, and you'd feel that like chill go up your spine. I had a pool table on the 3rd floor that had like old leather pockets. It's like built into the house, so it was old from like the 1920s, and it was all the leather ball like pockets were gone. So like the balls, if they went off the table through the pocket hole, they hit the floor. And one night I was on the phone, and I was probably about 12 years old with this girl. I was home alone in the house, and literally every single pool ball found its way through the hole onto the floor, and she heard it on the phone. She was like, "What was that?" And I was like, "Oh, you heard that?" Because I kind of wanted to like act like I didn't just hear what happened. And she like reaffirmed, and I was like, I was only about 12, I think, at the time. So I ended up sitting out front waiting for my dad to come home. And he didn't come home until like 1 and 2 in the morning that night. But yeah.
I get fucking freaked out by that stuff. I find it interesting, but it freaks me out. My aunt lived in I think she still does live in a really old home. Across the street was a cemetery. And she said that, I mean, I don't know if she was fucking with me, but she would tell me at night she'd hear her piano play and a little girl laugh. So I was like, I would never want to sleep there. But I would go in her basement or something, and I would get that feeling that you're talking about, that cold chill feeling. You'd see things move, like the drapes or whatever. The house was very dark. It was really old. And that, I don't know. It was a young age, and I was so scared that I feel like I turned that, whatever that frequency is, I feel like I turned it off. Because I feel like you could turn it on or turn it off. Because other people have seen things, like, and then ever since then, when in places that should be haunted, it like doesn't fuck with me. Like one of the bars I own was definitely haunted. Definitely. I mean, people would say, and I would sleep there. I would have really late nights, and I'd see nothing. But I'm telling you, I think it's because at a young age, I was so freaked out. I was like, nope, this is not going to happen to me. I'm done. I'm not turning this part of my brain off, or that whatever it is that you put out to get it back. But this place was so haunted that I had a guy. So everyone that worked there was freaked out. Now, I had a manager that was like a military guy, didn't fuck around. Like, he was just a straight shooting military, ex-military, and he came running up the steps one day and was like white as a ghost. And he's like, dude, I was putting the chairs away, and the chair just flipped. He said he saw it like just flip. He's like, and then they all started coming down. He's like, what the fuck? And he said that whenever he's in the office that I was in, that he sees things to the side of his eye, like down the hall. My wife would say the same thing, that she would see the chairs flip, and they would just flip, like not, and we're not talking like they're hanging, like they would be perfectly upside down and just go flying. And people would have all these crazy experiences there. And then when I was, I think I've mentioned many times, you guys, I play around with things that I didn't realize. So I don't know if it's good, bad, whatever it is, but when I had that place, I was going through a rough time, whatever. My friend's like, you got to go talk to this woman. So she was a practicing Santeria, and she gave me a reading or whatever, and she told me she didn't know anything about this business. All she knew about me was I was a guy that was having some issues because my business was, all kinds of crazy shit was happening. And this woman told me that wherever I was working, that a man was murdered and he was buried or some shit under the dumpster. Or she's saying by a dumpster. The funny thing is, where that dumpster was a boarding house where the cooks used to live. We broke it down when we bought the restaurant. So it would make sense, like, where the dumpster is. I sold the place. I was so fucking freaked out after she told me that shit.
All right, just meeting about that.
I was like,
yeah, I don't like any of that stuff. There was a Ouija board that I don't know where it came from, but it showed up when I was like cleaning out my dad's house down here at the Cape, and like I found it in like the closet, and it's like an old one from like 1972. It was like the original year they came out, and I moved it. And after I moved it, I took a shower. I got out the shower. Every door, every cabinet in the house was open. So I put it back where I found it and didn't touch it again. And I told my sister this. She got a dumpster to clean the house. I was like, be careful with that. Don't throw that in the dumpster. Don't do nothing with that. Just leave it alone. Don't touch it. And she threw it in the dumpster. And we heard pounding at like 5 in the morning. It was like 4:30, 5 in the morning. And there was a cop at my door. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? And he's like, you got to come out here. And I was like, why? What's up? He's like, your dumpster's on fire. And I was like, what? Why? How? He was like, what time did you go to bed last night? I was like, probably like 9, 10, whatever. And he was like, yeah, he's like, there's no way. Even if I smoke cigarettes, he's like, even if you threw a cigarette in there, it would have burnt, caught. Like, it wouldn't be at 5 in the morning. We're waking you up for it. And he's like, the only other explanation would have been if someone like came and like did it on their own at like 3:30 in the morning. Or I was like, the only other thing is we threw a Ouija board in there last night. That's it.
You told
my sister did after I told her not to. And I was like, that's the closest to Ouija boards I've ever got. And that happened. So.
Do you love freedom? Do you love being clean? Then you'll love Hero Soap Company. Made in the USA. Chemical and fragrance free. A portion of each purchase donated to veteran and first responder charities. Initial subscription purchase is matched bar for bar and sent overseas to deploy troops. Let freedom clean. Hero Soap Company.
Have you ever had any supernatural experiences, Clint?
Yes.
Really? You're talking to the mic, please.
Sorry. I was making updates since nobody's here. My house that I grew up in, my parents' house, there was apparently, hold on, what happened to the, there we go. There was apparently an old house on the lot, and are you all right? What'd you do down there? You're fucking sober. I don't understand why you'd be coughing like this. So there was an old house on the lot where my parents' house is, and when I was young, the door going from the house into the garage, you'd always hear it open, or it would just open on its own. You'd go back down and it'd be open, and when there's a little sliding latch on it, and even with the sliding latch, it would open itself, and you'd hear it swing open.
It was not electric
or closed. No, it's the regular door.
The door.
Yeah.
The garage wouldn't open or close.
No. It was like a regular just door into the house.
Do you think there's something wrong with the door?
No. So
you're a pretty handy guy. So
yeah, my dad would have figured out.
You guys
why the door kept unlatching itself and opening up totally.
But I feel like I could picture you. I don't know.
I was a little kid.
But I could just picture
my dad's way better with mechanics than I am.
If you ever say that, no, you're good. I can imagine
I'm not good.
You guys are so the Esposito family's like, what the fuck's wrong with this door, right?
Well, yeah. So
getting the levels out, looking at things.
They kept talking about it, and then we ended up asking the one guy that lived down the street, who actually owned 2 of the oldest houses on the street. One of them George Washington slept in. Then it became the smallpox house.
George Washington slept at your neighbor's house?
Well, it's down the street, yeah. And then it became a pock house.
Like Tupac?
Yeah. When they were all dying with Tupacs, they would get shipped out there to quarantine.
So Biggie shot Tupac in your neighbor's house?
Yep.
That didn't even go out that way.
Yeah, during 1776.
It didn't even go down that way. Okay, hold on. So there was wait, why was there smallpox in your house? I don't understand.
It wasn't in the house. That was down the street. But the guy that we asked owned that house. So they were history nerds, which is why I'm telling you this. So he knew that there was a house previous to ours on that lot. And they said that they died from COVID, actually.
Wait, are you just trying to see if I'm listening? Now you're just trying to see if I'm listening. You motherfucker.
They died from probably pneumonia, what everybody else in every other century died
You're
from.
An asshole.
This is previous to COVID, so people didn't die. This is fucking idiot. That was a trick question.
This is like putting the green M&Ms in the contract.
It's a trick question. People didn't die previous to
smallpox
to COVID.
No one died previous.
Dick.
I'm sorry.
So anyway, they told us the name of the family or of the wife, and whenever we would hear it, we'd go, "Oh, that's just Martha" or whatever, and then it stopped.
Once you addressed her by name?
Yes.
And your dad didn't fix the door?
No.
He tried, though.
It's still the same door there.
You ever hear that theory that every time you walk through a door, like a doorway, you're entering different like dimensions?
No.
You heard that, right,
Is
Anthony?
that a theory?
That's why you're supposed to sage the doorways. I can't hear him again now.
Mike, the way you make me feel with this stuff.
I'm sorry, man.
I know I can't get the new one pulled up on here either. So it's like, guess what?
I'm not trying to make you feel bad. If I knew sign language, he could sign me, and I could just translate what he's saying.
Oh, I just got it to work on here. I can see him, and he's moving now, so that's good.
I'm sorry, Anthony. If this was tinfoil hat, this would never happen. Actually, you would never allow this to happen.
Well, it's because you have an American coworker. That's what the problem is.
I don't even think Anthony does that shit anymore. I think it's all Johnny now.
Well, you got a white coworker, so it's always slacking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why can't we hear you?
I see him.
Are you muted on your side?
Oh yeah. You hold on. You didn't want me muted before so we could hear him, but now we're echoing again.
I need to mute.
There we go. Sorry, I had to help Clint. He did take his mushrooms this morning.
I did.
Oh, but you should pretend you didn't.
I did microdose
This
morning.
Sorry about that, man. Someday we'll be professional.
That doesn't bother me.
It bothers me.
So I was asking Clint while you were not here. I was asking him if he ever had any supernatural experience, and he told me this story about his door, and it was pretty crazy. And
there was a door in the house, in my parents' house, from when I was little, that would always just open and close by itself, and we'd be in the house, and several of us would hear it. And then we asked one of the neighbors that owned some older houses on the street, so we was like into the history of the area. So they found out that like 100 years ago or whatever, there was a family that lived there, and they died from COVID. No, probably pneumonia, I would guess. And so
Spanish flu.
So yeah, exactly. So they didn't wear masks. So there were a bunch of assholes lived on that lot. Back then, they still live. They still assholes still live on that lot. But so then we figured out the name. So we started saying the name of who we thought it was, and then it just stopped.
Oh, now you're not gonna say her name on air?
I'm Martha or something. I made it up. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, we'd say it, and then it just we stopped getting.
That's interesting. I had a door that opened a lot. I wonder if I would have said the name, if it would have stopped. It just used to scare the shit out of me. Is to just go under the covers.
Try
instead,
Martha.
But
Martha seems.
yeah, that and Jesus I've heard.
They're like,
yeah, no, the Jesus thing I've heard for real though.
That I've
Dude.
really heard.
Ghosts are like, I ain't afraid of no Jesus.
No, I mean, well, it's more about like demonic possession and entities and stuff that apparently like even
I've heard
like
as far as aliens.
and alien
too,
encounters. Yes.
But why would they respond to Jesus? Why wouldn't you just say like God?
If Jesus is really God's son, I mean, and God did create the whole universe, he might hold dominion over.
Could you say
anything,
Moses?
Technically,
maybe.
Or Muhammad?
I guess Jesus is his son. Maybe that's why.
Well, Muhammad is the other son, right?
We can get.
Are they brothers?
I don't think that's
Jesus
how it works.
and
I don't know.
Jesus and Muhammad are not brothers?
Yeah, I think he's a prophet. But we can get some dark witches in the next episode. We could get them to possess you. and we can experiment on this. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I bet you a couple of them are probably pretty hot.
The
You're not into
As
those
long as you
kinds.
say
You're not into those.
Jesus, it'll reverse.
Bethany was.
She's into one of those? She's into like...
We had this conversation where your wife and her were like the same shit.
But my wife's not a dark witch.
You say that now on air. He's only saying that because he's on air and she might see this.
She'll fucking possess me. I think it's a good... I mean, I would never do it. I'm scared. After Baphomet visited me, I'm scared of all that shit. I used to fucking play around with all of it. I actually shouldn't even be saying this shit. This is the kind of shit that got me in trouble to begin with. I always talk about this kind of shit. Everything's a joke, Michael. It's always a joke.
And then
it's all fun and games until Baphomet lays on your back
and tells you you're a dick.
Yeah, fucking sucks.
Yeah, sleep paralysis. I've had a lot of that.
Yeah, you have
my whole life.
Really?
My whole life. I still get it.
I've never had that. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
I'm not sure what it is. It seems to happen when I go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to happen when I go back to sleep for some reason. I'm not sure. And like, I've got to the point where like I feel like I can always jump out of it. Like I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna roll real hard, and I'll like just shake a little bit, and it's usually enough to break out of it. But like I know a lot of people say they can't like do anything, but I know I've seen like one time I seen my dog jump off my bed. Then like I woke up and she jumped off my bed, the exact same thing. And I know some people say you like precognition in your dreams. So I'm not sure what it is, to be completely honest. It's scary. It's not a comfortable thing.
Yeah,
at
no,
all.
I mean, yeah, people that say it's like it's terrifying, right?
Yeah, it's wicked uncomfortable. And it seems to I've actually I know one time I told like I guess I told my girlfriend like I said something to her, but I thought she was like holding my head down one night. That's how I felt and I like woke up and like I wasn't like fully awake, and I like looked over and I said something to her. I can't really remember, but I don't think it was nice because I think I felt like she was holding my head into the mattress and like not letting me up. She wasn't though.
She might have been trying to
like she swore she wasn't, but at like things like that where it's like if I fall asleep sometimes on my stomach, it seems to like I'll get that kind of feeling like someone's pushing me, but I don't know if it's just sleep paralysis and like. Maybe that's my way of like being asleep, saying like you're sleeping on your face, like too hard. You got to roll over a little bit.
I don't mean any disrespect, but right now, but my arm fell asleep once so hard that I tried to. I was telling myself just move it, and I punched my wife right in the side of the head. She was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry," because it was like dead, and I was like, "You got to move. What are you doing?" And I went, "Bang!"
It just moved all at once.
This seems like aggressive to just see if your arm will move, Michael.
I couldn't move it. I needed to get it to move, and I was like, bang! And I was like, oh shit.
So is this like when I'm having a dream that I'm in a fight and I just can only throw like really soft punches?
Oh, what is that? I hate that.
I've had that happen too.
That's
I don't
all
know
the
what
time.
that is. It's the most frustrating thing in the world, though.
And you punch like real soft.
You're like,
yeah, and it like feels weird.
Oh, it sucks. Yeah, but sleep paralysis. So I guess that means like. So basically, like you're asleep, you're like in a nightmare, and then you're awake, but you're like your body's just paralyzed, right? And you're kind of still in a sleep. Some people see like demons and shit when that happens.
One time I seen like looked like a Japanese like foo dog. Like that's the best way to explain it. Like you know, like the tattoos, like the Japanese, like that, like type of like, and it looked like it was trying to jump on the bed I was sleeping on, and like. It scared me so much I jumped out of the sleep paralysis because I've never seen anything before in it. So it like I told you I can usually roll out of it or like get myself like together and concentrate and rip myself out. I'm pretty good at like waking myself up and lucid dreaming
lucky.
too. Like
you lucid dream a lot?
Yeah, not all the time. Like there's times where I can take full control, and then there's a lot of times I'm lucid dreaming, and like I feel like I have to just go with the narrative. I don't know what it is. I know I'm asleep. I know I'm dreaming, but I feel like I have to still continue act out like what is going on, for no reason really either. It's more just like a narration, or it's like it just goes.
That's interesting because I assume you probably smoke a lot of pot.
Yeah.
I just started recently dreaming all over again because I gave up.
Because you stopped, right? Yeah, I've like read that. I've always smoked since I was like 13, like a good amount. So I just right along through.
That's interesting.
What about I don't hardly dream. What about deja vu? Like from when because I've had some dreams. Actually, when I split my eyebrow open here.
You have deja vu in your dreams?
Well, yeah. So I had dreamt. No, I had dreamt. I had this dream. Everything was in slow-mo and this song was playing. And I was like, oh, like I woke up and was like, I didn't like that dream. I wasn't sure why. And then we were riding one day. This is a true story. And I run out of gas. We partied the night before, and my friend's like, do you want to fill your gas tank up? And I was like, no, I'm hungover. I'm not going to ride that long. 2 hours later, I run out of gas going at the takeoff ramp, and I land at the base of the landing, like back wheel flat and front wheel on the landing, and my triple clamps.
Is this a dream?
No, this is real life. The triple clamps hit me in the head. Well, this is where the dream comes in. When I went and I realized that the bike had shut off and I was going up the face and it was slowing down, that whatever the song was, I can't remember. It started playing in my head, and everything went slow-mo, and I landed and I smashed my face off of my handlebars. And for a second, I was like laying there on my side, and I was like, oh, I'm all good. And I go to get up, and as I go to get up, blood starts pouring out of my eye, like into my goggles, and I'm watching it. And it goes boom, slow-mo, the song comes back on. And I'm just like, fuck, yeah. So
we've done
like
51 episodes. This is the first time I'm hearing about this. This is fucking crazy.
It sucked. Yeah, so
what?
It did that for like weird. A couple of minutes, and then finally that went away. And I was like, the next time I had deja vu, I was actually sitting in the tunnel of an arena ready to roll out onto the floor, and I have this deja vu, and I'm like, I'm about to fuck myself up. Like, I was so worried because the last time I had deja vu, I got hurt. So I thought for sure, I was like, oh, here we go. I'm about to get fucking hurt again, and then I didn't.
I don't want you to fuck your story, but how did you run out of gas before you're about to hit a jump?
I told you I was hungover.
I know, but like, isn't the first thing before you go on a ramps and all that stuff, like, let me make sure I have gas?
Obviously not. I explained the story to you. I said I didn't think I was going to ride that long.
So you were, okay. So you were riding and then you did the jump.
Well, how the fuck else would I jump
if
I wasn't riding?
In an arena.
No, we were just practicing. It was actually in Lyndhurst. We got wasted the one night.
I don't know much about your sport, man.
Day.
I just when you tell me, it's in my mind. I'm thinking of like you in like a circus about to do a jump. Like
no, this is just us practicing.
Okay.
So yeah, we rode all day the day before, and then he was like, "Do you want gas?" And I said, "No, I don't. I feel like shit. I don't think I'm gonna ride that long." And then I just kept riding.
So.
So anyway,
it's crazy that your brain just the deja vu.
The deja vu thing, I still don't understand.
I don't get that either.
I don't understand how when I knew I was in trouble, the deja vu kicked in. When I thought I was okay, it went away, and then when I started to bleed, it came back on. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But
that's fucking wild.
I wish I could remember this song.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. We could play it right now.
One day it'll come on, and I'll just freak out.
Freak the fuck out.
So we need to hear about his globe.
We will. We're gonna have to get to the globe. The globe is fucking. I still can't. To me.
Oh yeah.
It blows me away. But hold on. So let's just stay with this supernatural thing. I'm telling you, I really think I don't get any of that shit because I turned it off. The weird stuff. I'm telling you, I've been in some creepy, weird places, and like I don't even get that. I know when things are off. Like if you're in a place that's just got that bad energy. Of course, I could feel that.
That people energy is different.
Yeah, exactly. I could feel the bad energy. I could feel that they say that smell before something bad's about to go on. I'm in tune with all of that. But the supernatural shit, like I've been in creepy, weird places, and I'm telling you, I was so scared of it as a kid from my aunt's house that I just told myself like this is not gonna happen.
I mean,
and
that's
turned
very
it off.
possible.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like
and
almost
you
like
probably see the stuff, but you've shut it down, so you don't like. Or maybe you don't even see it anymore because you've calcified your pineal gland and you just can't see it anymore.
No, I didn't. Not the pineal. That's like
your third eye?
No, I think that's pretty good, I think. But I think it's more of like a frequency, man. I really believe like we're just get tuned into different frequencies, and that's where we can tap into to see like and that's why certain kids hear certain things. They I don't know. That's just it's just my gut that tells me that.
Yeah, but I heard someone say it today that like leftists are the only ones that can hear dog whistles. I don't know if they were joking, but I believe that like
yeah, but that's interesting, man.
You can choose to like
that's interesting.
Your brain on and off for that type of stuff to an extent. You're more susceptible to certain things. Like I agree.
That's interesting you say that because that's kind of what I'm getting at as well. Is I think some people eat up certain types of media, certain type of direction, and then others don't. It's like why? We're not special. We're all fucking the same.
Yeah, It's something, yeah.
It's something with a frequent, who knows? Like
NPCs,
exactly. And then somebody said something. Yeah, I mean, somebody said something about. There's a quote. I don't know who said it, but it's fucking great. It's like something about. You're all brainwashed, and if you know you're brainwashed, well, then you're almost like in a different frequency. You know what I mean? Where you could, you know what I'm saying? Like, because we're all brainwashed from all the shit that we take in from TV, media. Unless you're just living off the grid and you're not in any of that. Like, yeah, then I'm sure. But even some of these shamans, tribes, whatever I've hung out with, like they got Instagram all of a sudden, or they got just like you're like what
they're not shut off.
They're not even shut off completely, And it's like, so I do think, and you've done more than me, Clint, where you've gone like out in the middle of nowhere where there's no cell, and don't you feel different?
Absolutely.
You feel different, right? If the cell doesn't work anymore, right?
Yeah, I mean you don't have all those frequencies flying around you.
And you feel different.
I wish when we went to Guyana, I went to Guyana and did a 1,000-mile like safari on bikes. But this was like pretty shortly after my leg, and I was so fucked up I couldn't tell anything. So
yeah.
But we had no service for like a week. And actually, I've never even brought this up to you, and I have video of it, probably on this computer. When we got to the border of Brazil and Guyana, there was a river with these falls. Now the falls are like the rocks that the falls come over. It's like almost solid rock. It's all this red rock. Dude, there's perfect fucking like blade marks, chop marks through the rocks like everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it looks like it was a huge quarry where they were letting the water run down to cool it as they cut it or something like that. Because if you think about it, right, what does water do to any of that stuff? It rounds it off. So why are there still cut marks in this? This rock is hard enough that the cut marks, they're these perfectly straight fucking lines in a that perfectly intersect, are there, and the water runs over it constantly.
And we don't know shit.
But they got there. Like, I've never seen. I need to, and I was gonna put it out. We need to do a thing on it or something. But I have footage. I walk around and film all this, and like I said, there's tons of perfectly straight fucking cut marks and like squares taken out and stuff.
Mark Steve's got a guy that we really need to have on that just knows all about these rivers around here, and just crazy history on these rivers. That'd be interesting to bring up with him. But Anthony, that's a good segue, Clint. I like where you went with that. Anthony, tell us about this globe, because it still blows my mind. I've showed a couple people. This is fucking crazy. I know you hit me up about the Christ consciousness, but then you sent me this globe, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it happened to be, I listened to, I forgot what episode it was, and you guys were talking about that, and I was just like, oh shit, I bet you get a kick out of this. I found that on the side of the road in Worcester, Massachusetts, and like New England's old, so like the chance for it to be really old isn't out there, but like what it's made out of and like what I know of antiques, it's not that old. It's just, I've never really looked into it, but I'm looking at it, like I can see it's got to be like 100 at best.
All right, but let's tell listeners, what does it say on there? They don't know what we're talking about.
It says Tartaria on it.
It says Tartaria on this guy's globe.
In the exact area where it should be. It's like Russia, like Prussia is what it would have been back in the day. And that's exactly where it is too.
That's fucking crazy, man. And here's another thing that's weird about Tartaria. I thought I knew a lot about conspiracies or whatever. Just not even, that's not really, I guess it is a conspiracy, but all that, truth, whatever. I haven't heard about Tartaria till recently. Now, you brought something interesting up that you said that you really haven't heard about until after 2012, right?
Yeah, I've never really heard anyone like I say that, but like publicly. But I just feel like, because like I've always been into this kind of stuff, and like maybe that's why, like you said, like with turning it on and off, like I saw all this stuff as a little kid, but I liked it almost. Like I was scared of it, but I liked it, so I kept like it was interesting to me, and I always like looked into this stuff. I don't ever remember hearing of Tartaria until after 2012, and maybe that's because like no one started talking about it till after then, or like maybe there was some sort of timeline shift that caused that thing to be that way.
I think something happened after 2012. Like, listen, I've been in tune. So I've been in tune to weird shit. Even the occult things like that. I'm talking about supernatural, like getting freaked out by things. I've turned that part off.
Even just the world, like nothing's been good since, just the 2016 election, the 2020, like everything has been kind of crazy since 2012.
Oh yeah, and I think, and another thing is like I've been really playing with this idea again that something happened, because I was one of those people that was very nervous about 2012.
I
lived very reckless because I really thought everything was just. It was before I got very spiritual.
I did the same thing.
Right, it was before I got very spiritual, so I was actually very reckless. It was like it's all, and I was also didn't really tell people about all the conspiracies and all that knowledge I had. So I just was like, it's going to be done. No one gets it, blah blah blah. But something that's always a way that things happen is it's never what you think it's going to be. Right, no matter how much you think you know. Most of the time when some giant event happens or something like it's never how you expect it. So it would make perfect sense that 2012 we shifted timelines, or it's a new age, or whatever happened. It would make perfect sense that it wasn't some big explosion or what we all would think, that it just kind of eased into it, because man, this world is definitely different. It's just different from from the Mandela effects, right? So that's like the little subtle things that well, I guess they're not even that subtle, but these big, they're trying to say that they're false memories where so many people remember things other ways. I think something, there's theories that we all just died. Like it's like that Lost show. That'd be kind of fucking weird, right? Like Lost, like we just all died or some shit. But something changed, and it's this Tartaria thing is a very interesting one. I mean, I thought I knew all about ancient cultures, and I remember when was it Gobekli Tepe? Like that was a big one. It's like holy shit, that's the oldest one, and I was all balls deep into that one, and it was so interesting and learning about it. And it was like and then all of a sudden this Tartaria just comes out of nowhere, and then you find the globe. That just fucking blows my mind. I need to learn more about this for sure, but the globe thing just blew my fucking mind. And you don't know how.
From what I know, there's like a lot of difference. Like there's a lot of like different stuff out there, but it's almost like they're saying like all of ancient culture is like now Tartaria, which is kind of like you said. Right? It's like it kind of just came out of nowhere. Right? It's like, wait a minute, all of it is, and it's just like that's from what like the more research you get into, it's like everything, mud flood, like they covered up after basically the Civil War, like Napoleonic, French wars. From there on, like that's it. That's as far back as like real history, and even that could be bullshit.
Yeah, but doesn't that freak anyone out or whatever? Like I remember I started really getting into the ancient pyramids and all that before 2012. I mean, and I remember hearing about Mayans and the Aztecs, and I visited some sites, and it's like, now it's like Tartaria is like almost like you said, it's blanketing everything. It's like 1800s, and it's like I don't know. It's really weird to me, and it doesn't mean that it's just truth because that's the new thing that's coming out. But it just blows my mind that all of a sudden you say a picture of a globe with it on, and obviously I can't physically touch it, but how old do you think this thing is?
Like I would probably guess like if it was at the very oldest, like the Civil War, like that, it's like 100 to 150 years at the very oldest.
Wow. And you just
so
found
it's like
it on the side of the road.
Yeah, it was literally my mom's house. It's like in an area where there's houses. It's not like apartments and stuff. So it's like they could be about like I don't even think the houses are 100 years old in that area. So
like you said, I used to watch American Pickers. Where you are, there's some old
there's
stuff,
a chance for there
right?
to be old people like antiques up here too. So
so okay, so let me ask you this: when did you look at that globe and be like, holy shit, it says Tartaria on it? How like, because I'd be the kind of person that shit would be in my basement for a long time before I would notice it.
I found it a while ago actually, like because that's like I've heard it like maybe about a year ago. I noticed it a year and a half ago, like when I first started like really hearing a lot more like about like Tartaria all the time, and I always liked looking at that globe because like just the coastlines were different, like just the way the countries were shaped were way different than modern day countries. So I was just like to look at that and then I seen it one day and I was like, does that really say that? And I was like, I thought this was a myth. Like, why is this on a globe that is definitely older than my textbooks, but this thing is supposed to be fake? Like, Tartaria was never even supposed to be a real thing. And it's like, I don't know if you ever heard, the only thing I ever heard about Tartaria, I think, before 2012 was the time traveler thing. Did you ever hear that story about the like the
No.
Italian like the Secret Service Coast Guard, whoever it was, they picked this guy up and he was like, oh, he had a passport and money from a country that was never heard of, and he said it was Tartaria. And he said, and he was confused. The guy, like the traveler, was completely confused. He was like, "What do you mean? It's the biggest country in the world. Like, what do you mean you don't know what it is?" And the cops were like, they were holding him. They came back to the cell, and he was just gone.
Wow, I gotta look.
And I think his like artifact.
Do you think it's Italian? Is it Italian time traveler?
I'm not sure exactly if it was Italian, or I want to say it was Italian, but it was like somewhere in Europe. And he was, it was like, this, I heard this a while back, this story.
I mean, I've heard stories like that where people just show up and they don't know where they are or they're dressed differently.
That's basically what it was, like a story like that. And he came, like, to, like, basically get in, like, and or I think they arrested him because he was trying to pass the money off at a grocery store. And they got him for, like, counterfeit. And something like that, and they picked him up, and that was the story. And he had passports, and he had stamps from like countries that were existent in our world, but the origin was from Tartaria. I'm almost positive.
It's so fucking crazy, man. I really do think something changed in 2012, but like, it's just wild. This is wild. It's I don't know. Everything's just fucking getting stranger by the minute. I mean, when you say worse, it does feel worse, but I don't think people should, at least for me, I do think it's going to get better. I really do.
I think it has to get worse before it gets better, unfortunately, because, like, it's just the nature of the beast. I mean, it is how it is, so.
Especially if we did change timelines. I mean, at least with the Mayans, they believed that it was the reset of something new. And I remember talking to people that really researched that and were deep in that. And they said that, yeah, it's going to, once the new comes, though, it's going to be beautiful, but it's not going to be like, it's going to be a little bumpy. It's going to be rough. It's going to be weird. And that's definitely what's going on right now. But, yeah, man, my mind can't wrap. Like, it's like my mind gets blown thinking about this lately, and it almost reminds me of like some of these movies too, the predictive programming. Like maybe we're all asleep and we're waking up to it. Like that's why we're all like, it's like these AI, Westworld and Matrix and all this shit, where it's like we're waking up and we're like a lot of us, and it's like we're remembering or we're talking about like stuff that we're almost not even supposed to remember. Like, hey, you're supposed to stay in this, and I'm not a big simulation theory, but it's like, hey, you're supposed to, wake up in Europe or wake up in America. You're not supposed to, in the United States, you're not supposed to know about this Tartaria shit. I don't know, man. It's a trip. I don't know. What do you think, Clint?
I mean, maybe we're accessing. I mean, it would make sense that's why they don't want us that aware and using mushrooms regularly.
Well, I mean, they are kind of passing shit where we're allowed to now.
So what if, like, just like doing mushrooms or LSD gets you into that like higher frequency of knowledge, and we've had the discussion where if an idea kind of gets made, a lot of people or a thought gets out there, like multiple people have the thought everywhere. So like if everybody starts to wake up, shouldn't it become exponentially faster?
Yeah, absolutely. Because
now more people are going, oh yeah.
That's what a lot of like monks
and then they're putting it into the atmosphere, and so now the information like is floating by, faster.
Yeah, I mean, did you guys hear about this dead internet theory?
What?
Heard about that
they're
yet?
Going to get rid of it?
No, the internet is.
I might have.
Yeah, I just read about this morning. That dead internet theory. It's pretty interesting too. It's like basically that almost most of the internet is just like bots and bullshit and not real. And
so it's like the big Chinese ghost cities.
Yeah, in the internet.
AI like supposedly takes over these accounts and like acts human through it. I've read something about like they have these new AIs that like are only on the internet, and like there's some crazy stuff out there.
Yeah, Rogan was saying something today. I was listening because our friend Jessica was on, and he said something about like 19 out of 20 of the top Christian sites were just Russian bot farms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's where all of a sudden it's weird because I just heard that on my way into work. I've been listening to this podcast because my friend was on it, and by the way, she's just really funny. Anyone listening, check her out. She's fucking hilarious. But I was like, wait, that's so weird. I love when things like that click, almost like deja vu-ish. Like this morning, I was reading about dead internet. He didn't go that far, but that goes hand in hand with it. If you're saying 19 out of 20 top Christian sites or Facebook or whatever he was saying, it's something on the internet that was big, something huge, like were just Russian troll farms. And they were saying, I turned it off right when he was saying, but he was saying it's like, and they purposely, let's say, they know that everyone that's going to follow this is going to be anti-abortion. And they purposely put in there, I just got my 5th abortion or something, just to get people to fight. And it's all about getting us to fight. And it's like, I could see that. I could totally see that.
Why does it have to be Russian? Why do we...
It could be Chinese. Maybe that's
still
just
not
what he
think
said.
it could be American.
It could also be American. Of course well, dude, I mean, we know that here. That of course it could.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like...
I mean, that's what Rogan said.
We just think everybody else is...
Listen, that's what Rogan said. And he's not going to say that kind of shit.
No, I know. He's got to walk a tighter fucking line.
I would say
you can't rock the boat.
No,
he can't rock it, especially right now. They're all on his ass because he's
not after the Vermec. Yeah,
because he's telling people to be healthy. So he's public enemy number one. Because he's telling people to be healthy right now. It's
so somebody on Facebook posted something that said, "Fight for what you think is right, even if it means standing alone." And Facebook censored it to where you had to hit it to like, "Are you sure you want to see this?" Yes, I'm not shitting you.
That's what I'm telling you, man. This whole I'm
like,
we got to get off social media and things like this.
Yeah.
But then again, okay, but I say that, but I would never met you, Anthony, without social media. And so many people from the Freethinkers society that we've had.
The networking aspect's great.
Yeah,
we need to start one that's just all crazy conspiracy people.
Like, what's the guy, Bongino
They already
did?
gave us the internet.
Yeah.
They'll never do that.
Yeah, well, I think it got away from them.
I got away from them. That's why they'll never do it. They learned their lesson with the internet. They will never let that happen again. So.
Yeah. But then again,
I just realized there was something spelt wrong on the screen this whole time. Instead of Freethinkers, I put a D at the
end. Oh, Clint, are you sure those mushrooms are
working? Freethinkers Society. There was a lot going on.
Oh, man. Well, Anthony, if you're ever in New Jersey, please come to the Dojo of Comedy and hang out with us.
Definitely.
If you ever pass by or you ever